Hello again. So I'm back after a couple of weeks working on second part of this Stratocaster. This isn't the Stratocaster, this is a Telecaster. I'll talk about this in a second. This is part two. I kind of got a bit, hit a couple of hurdles last time a few weeks ago with some upgrades to this Aria Telecaster. And hit a few snags with that, and then hit a few snags with the streaming business as well. In terms of cameras and setups and one thing and another. One of my, well, the game capture card I have still isn't working. But anyway, let's move on from that. I wanted to quickly talk about the progress on this Telecaster build. Now, there's a couple of things that I've done since we last spoke. First of all, this neck is coming along nicely. I think you'll agree. Let me switch cameras. So this is coming along nicely. So shaped that neck in an afternoon, based on a template that I downloaded. Very, very soft wood. What did I say it was last time? It's, I think it is Polonia. Very, very soft. I'll show you in a second. But I've been oiling the hell out of it, probably way too much. I've been using a combination of linseed oil and raw linseed oil and Danish oil. Been alternating between the two. That's turned out pretty good. And I've sort of not leveled the frets. I've done the fret ends and whatnot, so it feels a lot better. It's a bit sticky now after a few coats. The first couple of coats I did and a bit of sanding, it felt really, really great and really natural, fantastic natural finish. And now it's got a few imperfections because I haven't sanded it down since. But ultimately, it's in a very good position. So. Yeah, it's looking good. I think I've done a good job on shaping that headstock. That's the first one I've ever done, and it did a pretty good job, if I don't say so myself. And it feels good in the hand and whatnot. And yeah, I think it's a testament to how soft this wood is, though, more than my woodworking skills, because this is incredibly soft wood. Take a look at this. So you can already see there where my nail is. There's a mark there. I mean, there's tons all over, but that's just one I noticed since picking up this guitar, like in the last 5 minutes. Look here, I'll just put another, if you can see that. I'm not going to put any more dents in just for the sake. Yeah, you can probably see that a little bit there. Anyway, so this is coming along nicely. What I've done is I've gone for a non-traditional telly style, in that I put in a bit of a belly curve here, just by hand. I don't know if you can see that, but and then a shoulder rest over here as well. So I've foregone the trimming, the binding, and I've just put in a nice, fairly neat shoulder armrest there, which still needs a little bit of work, but it's coming along nicely. And I'm going for a sonic blue with this. So I've got 3 layers to do, multiple coats, but 3 different products I want to use. First of all, some grain filler, some sanded grain filler, then the color itself, which will be sonic blue, like I say, and then covered by a nitrocellulose lacquer. So we're looking forward to that. It's a great little project. I am a bit worried about when this guitar is all together and the softness of the wood, because it is incredibly soft. Cool, moving on. There's a few things I wanted to cover today. So first thing I wanted to do is talk. Last time, in part 1 of this Strat upgrade, we ran into some hiccups. Now, let me first give you a quick rundown. So this is an Aria Strat that I've had since 2002, 2001, 2002, 2002. And I love it very much, and it's due some upgrades, and that's what we're doing today. So there's a few different things we're doing. Specifically, the first thing I want to talk about is this bridge. So here we are. I've taken out the bridge because I've been working on it. So here's the original. You can see it's got this this cast metal bridge block which, I mean, it's fine. Like I said, nothing on this guitar is wrong. Nothing on this guitar originally was broken, but there's certainly some upgrades to be made. One sec. Certainly some upgrades to be made. So that bridge block, I was looking to replace. And before I sent these products back, I wanted to show them to you. So these are the two bridge blocks that I bought in the hopes of replacing this one. So I got in two stages. I got the first one, which was this one. Yeah, this one, which is a so Music Lily, right? Pretty well-known brand in the sense that they are everywhere. It's the Mexico Fender 10.5mm, 42mm. So that's just basically the that is those dimensions, and then 73mm is the depth of it essentially. Is that right? No, sorry. 73mm is the length of it, which was fine. The depth of it for me was too much. So this is 42, and I think this one was 38. 40. Yeah. So neither of these fitted is the long and short of it. This one, they both fitted the actual plate. They fitted, but they didn't sit quite right. The first one, the trem arm didn't quite screw in properly. It didn't either on the second, but it was worse on the second. And then also these, the holes for the strings didn't quite match up. So the first thing I was going to have to do was I was going to have to take these holes, pardon me, and sort of build a ramp up, just sort of grind them down so that they don't cut the edge of the strings don't get cut on the edge of the block, the brass, you know. So I was going to do that, and then I was going to have to cut away a bit of the brass in a similar sort of shape. I wasn't going to do it as pronounced as this, but basically a little bit here, so that it fitted into the body cavity correctly. Because without that, it wasn't fitting properly. So this one obviously fits because this is the original, but these blocks are much more solid. You know, there's more metal there, and that metal is brass. It's heavier, better resonance, etc. So anyway, after much deliberation, I've decided to go back to the original. So I didn't need to keep these for weeks only to show you that, but anyway, now you know. So if you have supposedly if you have a Mexican Strat and you want to replace your block, this is the one you need. This is the shorter of the two. It doesn't have the dimensions on here anymore. Well, at all. So you need the shorter of the two. There's one basically for the made in Mexico style Strat, and one for the made in USA style. Neither of them fitted this particular Strat because, of course, technically this isn't a Strat. It is a Strat copy. So these I'm sending back. These were about 20 quid each, which means that's £40 back in my pocket. So I'm going to send these back because I've decided to not use them because they don't fit. Right. Fair enough. Moving on. Okay, so I put this original block back on. Let's see if I can tighten this up a bit more. It's a pity because those previous ones had, you know, new screws and one thing and another, where these are all sort of old and rusty, but that's it, you know. Right, so a few things to do. Got the two different guitars mixed up here now in terms of hardware. So this is my pot of hardware that I'm going to work on at the moment. So the other thing we'll be doing today, hopefully, is these locking tuners. So this was the other nightmare that I had in the last few weeks while preparing for this project today, is drilling holes for these locking tuners. Basically, these cylinders, the post part, basically, not quite, technically not the post. This cylinder piece around the post that goes through the body. This is these are slightly wider than what was on the guitar. So I didn't really want to do much in terms of changing the body, or the neck for that matter, which is why I didn't want to cut the body for the tremolo block. I wanted to rather cut the block in case I wanted to go back or whatever. You know, I'll try to keep this guitar as stock as I can, even though I'm hot rodding. So this one is, these are 9.6 millimeters, 9.6 millimeters wide, and the old ones, I mean, it didn't even have a post, it didn't even have a sort of, what do you call those things? I forget. But basically the holes needed to be widened quite significantly. So I got one of these, I got a, it's not an awl, one of those tools, like an awl, where you basically have to just grind it out. So I've ground these out to fit, and I've also, I've put a bit of oil in there because obviously that wood was now raw. A few tips, whoops, that's the bridge. A few tips if you're doing this yourself. Don't be scared of it. I think because I was a bit concerned about drilling those out. I didn't want to, I didn't plan on doing it, but I had to. I mean, I'm not finished the job yet, so I may be wrong here, but I was worried about it, but now I'm not too concerned because it was fairly easy. The one thing I will say is when you're using the awl or whatever it's called, because it's a cone shape, right? Because it's a cone shape, you need to make sure that you're not using you're not going from this side too much, because you're making the holes too wide, and the actual tuner is going to go from through this side, not this way. So don't do what I did for the first one and basically started going a bit too wide, and realize, hang on, I need to focus on working from this side, this way up, rather than from the front back, because if I did so, I would be removing too much wood, essentially, right? The other thing that kind of sucked was putting in these spaces for these little those little doinks there. Putting those in place, that kind of sucked as well, because lining them up was a bit of a chore. But I just, basically what it is, I took a little piece of paper and I made a little stencil, little plate, and put that on, marked them off, and then drilled them out. We'll see how they fit now. So let's do that first, because that was a lot of work and I'm ready to get these tuners in. So I think we need to use, there's 3 out of the 6 that have a longer post. I think those 3 go on the bottom 3 strings. So let's figure this out. There's 3 of the same length, and these 3 are the same length. Ooh, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Let me just remind myself. Pretty sure. Yes, because of the break angle. So the longer posts are the first. These first 3. 1, 2, and 3. So D, A, and E. The D, A, and E strings. Let me bring this over this side. Okay, so let's get these in. So let's do the first one. Say what, you can't really see it. Okay, let's bring this around. How's that? The other thing I was hoping to do while I've got you in this, from this viewpoint, this angle, is you can see this stain. Well, not a stain. It's a, I guess it's the opposite of a stain, really, because I used to have stickers all over this guitar, you know, being a stupid young kid, as you do. And when I took them off, I managed to get them all off without any sort of residue or anything like that, or scratches. But the one issue I had was that. So I had a star on there that I'd made really badly. And the sun, of course, bleached or affected the rest of the headstock and the neck, etc., etc., except that spot. And I've tried to sort of put some oil on it and stuff to try and get rid of it, but it's there. It's part of this guitar story, and it's part of me. So let's go. Now, this, I don't know if that's really in properly. We're going to have to tighten it up and see. Just get a socket set. Tighten that by hand. See, that's not sitting flush. I'm a bit worried about that. Let's see if I can just, probably shouldn't do this. Let's see if I can just get this into position like so. Literally just by tightening it. Ooh, it makes me nervous because I don't like putting that much pressure on it, but hey, it's in. Okay, first locking tuner. I've never owned locking tuners, I've never installed them. This is new ground for me and I'm very excited. This guitar, as I've said before, didn't really have ferrules. That's the name of these things. These goodies. Ferrules, I believe. This guitar didn't really have any sort of tuning stability issues. But again, in the interest of trying out different products and getting to know different products and hey, just maybe making some incremental improvements. Maybe it'll help with sustain, who knows? So, the last thing I want to do is damage anything here. Alright, so that's 2 in. This is pretty fun now. So everyone that I've watched lots of videos of people installing these and stuff, and people are like, oh, it's a 2-minute job. It's not a 2-minute job. Let me tell you, it's not a 2-minute job. I don't know whether you would, not everyone needs to do the amount of work that I did, I'll give you that, but it's not a 2-minute job. Or, no, they don't say 2-minute job, maybe 5-minute job. But it's a bit of work, getting things to line up, doing the sort of, you know, the holes for securing them. Dang, alright. Cool, 3 down. Man, can't wait now. You know, I've actually not been playing guitar over the last few weeks as well. So I've been working on, well, I've been working on work and other stuff, family and Nintendo emulation. But I've been working on some other things, so I have not really been, and I've packed up my other guitars away for the time being because, oh shit, yeah. Because I've been focused on, well, I just haven't been, I packed my other guitars away because I wanted to take this guy out and a few others that I wanted to work on, and I didn't want to have guitars all over the place, so I put some away. And because I put the ones that are working well away, and I left out all the ones I need to work on, and then I neglected to work on them, I just haven't really played guitar in the last few weeks. Probably 3 weeks now. And to be honest, it feels good because it makes going back to it really more exciting. And it's not because I haven't wanted to play or wasn't excited to play. It was almost like a holiday. Because I've done that before when I took a few years off playing, and it wasn't an intentionally beneficial thing I did. I just moved countries. I didn't play for a couple of years, and then when I did start playing again, I found that I made a lot of improvements fairly quickly. It felt like that break was good for me of a year or a year and a half or 2 years or whatever it was. And now I kind of embrace the breaks, you know. It's like going on holiday. I always come back really inspired if I'm away or something, you know. Come back really inspired and don't always act on that inspiration, but that's not the point, you know. I think we can say these tuners are on. And I am damn excited. Okay, tuners are on, man. Let's see how straight they are. Yeah, they look fine. I could have done a better job. Let's see if you can see that. Like, they're fine. It just basically looks like there's 2 steps to them. Oop, shit. There's like this level and then these 3. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm happy. Right, what's next? String trees. Seeing as we're on the headstock. So these are the string trees I'll be putting on. So these are Tusq permanently lubricated nuts. These aren't nuts, these are string trees. I'm not going to be doing the nut today. I do want to do the nut another time. Actually, to be honest, what is this? This is, I can't remember if this is plastic. It feels like plastic, but I could have sworn that I replaced it with bone a few years ago. Not bone, synthetic bone. Yeah. I don't know. So these string trees will of course help with resonance. Hopefully. Why are there 3 screws? Just in case you lose one. Okay. I did think about getting roller string trees. I think they're like the Fender style. Do I have them on my? Yeah, my American Standard has them. But I want to try something different, and also I'm going for the changing the saddles for the same Tusq saddles. So I thought, well, let's keep it Tusq. It'll at least match. Let's get a better screwdriver for this. Oh, that's right, because they're different heights, right? Yes, of course. So the lower one, I think. The way the string breaks down. The lower one is the second one, I think. The one furthest away from the nut. But I'm going to double check that if I can. Everything here is about changing the nut. Literally. It's labeled lubricated nuts. It's about changing the nut. Not a damn thing about string trees. Right, let me figure out which one is which here. So one is shorter than the other. And I forget which one is which. Let me Google it. In the meantime, okay. So here we go. So these were the ones I was thinking about getting, like this style. But opted for these Tusq ones, Tusq nut. They're not Tusq, it's not ivory. It's just synthetic bone, isn't it? Right. So this is what I had before, the butterfly style. They're in the bottom of this glass jar. I'm not going to try and get them. And I mean, they worked as fine. They did what they needed to do, but they were rusty, old, didn't look very great, and probably were doing damage to the strings, probably causing me to lose the odd string here and there to breakage. Right, let's talk about height real quick. It says this talks about the height, but it doesn't. Sorry about this. It's probably not great viewing. Okay. So here's basically what a string tree does, right? So the first one just has a string going straight across. The second one has a string going straight across with a lowered peg. And then the third one at the bottom has a string tree in place. So you see how the string, as it comes down, goes down at an angle. That basically puts, there we go. So that basically means that the nut is actually acting like a breaker, because if the angle is wrong, if the string was just going straight across, the nut wouldn't really be doing its job. The strings need to be at an angle coming down, so that this is the end point basically of your string, as is kind of the bridge on the other side, right? But I think the shorter one needs to be, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so, and you know, I'm doing this for the sake of doing it, so do it right. Yeah, no. Yeah, so I think the one closest to the headstock is the shorter one, I believe. I couldn't really actually validate that, to be honest, but that's what I'm going with. If I need to replace it, I will take it out and replace it. Okay, so that was a bit of a waste of time, but we are moving on. Okay, so first one's in place. Go second one. This one's slightly higher. Yeah, because basically the one that's closer to the nut has a shorter distance to create the angle, right? Is that right? No, it should actually, the other one should be the tall. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm going to live with it. Okay. String trees are in place. Are they straight? Yeah, they are. Okay. String trees are done. Finally, after weeks. Okay. Now, I'm ready. This is screwed. These I'm really excited about, right? So these are the saddles, the Tusq nut saddles. So again, they're synthetic bone, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to it. Okay, let's flip this around. Well, for now, I actually only really need the plate itself, I think. Okay. Finally. Been looking forward to this. I haven't even opened this, so excited. Yay, it's actually about saddles. Okay. Sweet. So the reason I want to do the saddles is because the previous saddles really did suck. They I mean, physically they hurt your wrist, your hand while playing, because they were just old, and they were the style with you know, those screws that come through. but then they sit really high up and dig into your hand. And I just want to double check. I don't remember if these have any particular. Don't believe they do. I don't believe they have any particular order that they need to go in. So I think it's just a case of popping them on. So let's do it. Let me do this here on the corner of the table, as you can see. Number one. So I really hope these are right. As in they're the right product. Because I've had them a long time. I've had them like about 3 weeks or a month now sitting around. And then of course, now that I've done this, one thing or another, I'll need to do the intonation, which is a bit of a palaver, but it's fun. I'm not a pro at it, but I've done it a few times, so I did have problems with this particular guitar when I was doing it last time, which was a long time ago now actually, in that one of the strings, the bottom E, I was struggling to get to right because I was basically running out of slack on the saddles themselves. So to get it up to pitch on the 12th or whatever it was, 12th fret, it was just not playing ball. It was I didn't have enough space on the screw to adjust, you know. So I had to I tried a few different things to adjust the screws on the tremolo and whatnot. Eventually got it as close as I could, but that's, I guess, also one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to replacing these, because it gives me a fresh start, you know. And also because that guitar, well, it's this guitar, but when it was set up like that, it was set up for kind of D, open D, and now I'm going a lot lower than that. I'm kind of going to C and even lower than that sometimes. So I was playing A the other day. That was a lot of fun on this. I mean, it gets really slappy, so that's why well, a few different things. The strings I put on are higher gauge, one thing or another. Right, okay, this is coming along. I'm really excited about this. Where are the rest of my saddles? There they are. Let me go back here. Okay. Number 5. And number 6. And what are these other screws for? Are they for? Oh, interesting. I think they go straight into the body, through the plate into the body. Is that what they're for? They seem unnecessary. I'm not buying a plate. But what's the saddles? How many are there? 6? Yeah, 6 of them. Interesting. So these guys, they came along with. Yeah, I won't be using these. Well, nice to know that I've got them. Anyway, so that's going to look great. That's going to feel great too, I'm sure. We'll see when I actually raise these saddles to the height that I'm after. You know, these still might stick out and kind of dig into my hand, but at least they're not rusty. Okay, so let's get this in place. Here are my springs. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the screws to get the bridge down into the body. To get the bridge plate specifically down into the body. So I'm looking for 6 of these guys. Jeez. I'm okay. So these are the old saddles. Not too bad. I mean, they're still playable, but they're just uncomfortable. So they're being replaced. Man, I've made a mess here now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think it's 1 on the floor, 6. I think that's the one of the big ones, 4. Oh goodness me. Okay, I'm missing one. I'll get there in a sec. Let me just put these away. Don't need those. Don't need anything here. Okay, it's going to make a noise, and I'm sorry. There we go. My 3 screws, springs, but I'm still missing 1 screw on the floor. Dang. Where is it? Yeah, where's my screw, man? I did not need this. Missing screws. Ah, there it is. Got it. Okay, let's get this bad boy back in. So I don't think I'll do the intonation and stuff tonight, simply because, I don't know if I feel like doing the whole job tonight. But let's get this in place. But I'm certainly happy with progress so far. I love the way these saddles look against the pickups. Looks great. I'm missing one. Oh, there's one there. Cool. Why do these all look like crappy angles? Perhaps I should pay more attention. So once this is done, then it's basically all over to the Telecaster, that Telecaster kit. The neck is basically done. I've just got to sand down that neck a little bit. I don't think I'll put any more coats on it. I'll probably just sand it down. And then the body, we'll do the painting of the body, the what do you call it? The finish. And then do the electronics. And then put the head on the neck, the neck on the body, string it up, and give it a twang. So I've never had a Telecaster before, and the few that I've played, I mean, well, I've played a few Telecasters, but they just feel like outdated Strats to me, man. It's like playing a cereal box. That's why I put the that belly curve and the armrest on the Telecaster, on the body of the Tele that I'm building, because man, Stratocasters are just so comfortable. Telecasters, Les Pauls, not so much. SGs, man, SGs are comfy. They're light, they're thin, they've got curves on the body for the most part, and the neck dive isn't non-existent, but over emphasized. Okay. Yes, I mean these screws, I guess, don't have to hold the plate firmly down to the body. They just need to hold it against the body, really. There needs to be a little bit of movement because I like a floating ridge, floating trem. So that's probably too much movement, right? It's probably way too much movement, but for now, we'll stick with that. Okay. So I'm going to springs. So what I did last time when I was trying to figure out this intonation problem, and I didn't have any more space left in on the saddle, on the screw, I adjusted the springs and I made them into a V shape rather than just going straight across like that, parallel. I made them into a V so that there was a bit more tension, which I may do again today. But before we get there, what was the thing I wanted to do? Oh yeah, so these things clang like nobody's business. Let me show you. So they're very, very noisy springs. And I was looking at getting, gee, I spoke about this last time, not Seymour Duncan, goodness, I can't remember the name of the company. Anyway, these treated springs that have, they're noiseless. So not only do these ones, they resonate when, let me just switch over, they ring out basically in the back of, this thing needs to focus. They resonate in the back of they ring out and you hear them like a twang sound when you play. But these ones specifically, like these three springs, not only do they ring out like most springs do, but they actually clang when they move. It's actually like they're rigid, you know. So I did think about getting these other ones, I can't remember the name of the company now, that are coated so they're noiseless. But I decided to try this instead, aquarium piping. I forget the exact measurements. I'm not going to dig them out now because I think I've done enough kind of searching for random things. But this width, I'll measure it quickly. This width is the perfect width. So this is squeeze it 3.7, so it's probably like 4 millimeters, I'd say. And the idea is that you put some through and you trim it off, and then this lives inside so that it doesn't, you know, it's the same as putting like cotton wool down the back of your springs, right? So we're going to do that. So it's as simple as finding a pair of scissors. And it's always best to use safety round nose scissors. Always get an adult to help you. And these scissors are from Fiskar and they are a B. So let's go. So we put that in there. Gonna measure that off. I wonder how, if I should, oh yeah, I guess because the string will be stretched as well. So let's actually put them in place and then see. I'm going to put them just in a U, put them parallel for now. Oh shit, don't like seeing the plate in that angle. Right, so I guess, so we need to kind of measure from there to there. Okay, so it's like there. Hey, they work. Okay, so basically we'll put them in here, right? So we'll go like this. I mean, they still ring out. Oh, it's the other one. Okay, cool. So, cool, that's one. But I also want to think, so I kind of want, yeah, I want the spring, this side of the spring to be on the bottom. Again, if you think of the break angle, so this side of the bottom and this one to be down. So this one needs to be down because that's just how it goes into the body, right? And this side I want to be like that, so flat. Because the reason I want it like that rather than like that, let's say, is again because the angle. I want this side to be on the bottom, basically. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I probably am, but that's half the fun. Cool. So I'm putting this one in. I'm going to put it in like that. actually just trim it just like this. Thank you, safety scissors. Cool. All right, that one's done. That one's done. Let's do this last one. So I'm going to keep the springs in parallel today, and I think the reason I'm going to do that is because that gives me a little bit more wiggle room later on if I want to, because I'm probably going to only going to want to increase the tension, I think, because if I'm dropping down to open A or something like this, something stupid like that, it's not going to be too taut. I'm going to need some leeway to kind of not slack, the opposite of slack. Yeah. Okay. You know what? The bridge is done. Obviously, I need to set the intonation and all that jazz, but hey, I'm happy. Cool. That's in place. All right. So hopefully this is all good. Okay. What's next? We've done that. We've done that. I think what we need to do. Gee, we're very close to being done here. Intonation aside, let me just very quickly talk about the other things I'm going to be doing in the future to this guitar. So I'm going to string it up now, of course, which I'll do in a second. But there's a few different things I want to talk about. So the first thing I've got on order is a JB Junior, not Junior, JB, Seymour Duncan JB. Pardon me. The humbucker. So I'm converting this to HSS. Humbucker single, and I've actually got a new cream scratch plate as well. HSS scratch plate. So when I do that, I've got this tone shaper kit. I haven't used it, so I can't say it's any good, but it looks really good. And in fact, the schematics that they provide are really useful. It's pretty much exactly what I needed because I had some questions basically. So schematics are cool. You can see the schematics online. All I need is I'm waiting for the humbucker, and then I'm still undecided about what to do with these two, whether I should take these two out and put them on the new pick guard. I think maybe I should do that because I don't want to spend more money on pickups, and this particular pickup I don't have a problem with. I actually kind of like it. The only reason why I wouldn't want to do that, well, there's two reasons. One is because I was thinking about putting a junior JB Junior, so that is the I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the dual coil, it's a mini humbucker. So it's a humbucker in the shape of, in the size of a single coil, and then here we're thinking of putting a hot rail, specifically, I forget which one it was. It's the hottest Seymour Duncan, hottest single coil sized hot rail. So that's one thing I'm doing here, but yeah, it's just expensive, and I don't have a problem with these pickups. I mean, I don't care for the middle pickup because it's a middle pickup and a Strat. But the neck is cool. Again, I don't really have a problem with the bridge pickup, except that bridge pickups generally suck anyway. Not as much as the middle, but I don't use them that much. I use the neck. So in the interest of having a guitar that you can sort of whack into harder rock / metal doom territory, having a JB there is probably a good thing to do. Anyway, so when I do that, I will be insulating, isolating, renovating. I'll be insulating the cavity with this aluminium coil tape, which I can't wait to do because I've been wanting to do this for years actually. I'm not going to do it now or before I do the pickups because I'm going to pull everything out to do the pickups anyway, so I'll do it then. And then I guess that only leaves today, a bit of Big Ben's nut sauce on the nut. String it up. Maybe I'll do the intonation now. I probably won't do the intonation on camera simply because it takes a while to get strings on one thing and another. I think it's time to string this guy up and do the intonation. So to sum up, I mean, what have we done today? We have got the locking tuners on. Dead excited about that. string trees on. They look cool. These saddles, banging. Really excited about these saddles. We've got the bridge back on. I'm really upset I didn't get the chance to use the brass blocks. Again, especially after buying two, one after the other, try and get it to work. And just now making the call, just being like, you know what, it's not worth it. Just going to keep the original. So it's a shame. But anyway, you know, again, it's not like it's my only guitar, you know. This is a project. I'm learning, and I've learned something going through this project, so I'm happy. Right, guys, I'm going to end it there because I'm going to string this up, do the intonation, enjoy the rest of my evening. Yeah, thanks for joining me. See you later.